So that's what I did. I transformed Oasis versus Blur into a vast cathedral of made-up meaning. Loving Oasis and hating Blur was a way for me to work out my aesthetic preferences at a formative age. In my mind, Oasis was associated with words such as rock, intoxicated, testicles, and cool, whereas Blur was pop, academic, elitist, narrow, and clever. Again, I'm not defending these reductive descriptions, but rather asking how musical biases become ingrained at any early age and over time become truth. What mattered to me is that I perceived these bands as having a binary relationship that had great symbolic meaning to me, and likely to other people who cared about this tete-a-tete. I was using these bands to help me figure out who I was and what I stood for, and also who I wasn't and what I didn't stand for. To this day, whenever I hear a Blur fan talk about why Blur is great, I understand it only as a critique of Oasis and, by extension, a particular way of looking at the world. It's like when a cat person tries to explain why cats are superior pets. In some way, it's really about why dogs are inferior. And sorry, but I can't hear that, because dogs are and always will be better. Yes, Blur is cleaner and doesn't drink out of the toilet. But I'll always have a weakness for shaggy, sloppy, and lovably aggressive creatures who craft spectacular songs about smoking cigarettes and living forever. I tend to do this with pop rivalries. It's just how my brain works. I have pop rivalry OCD. Every Oasis I see must be paired with a Blur or else I claw my face off. Over time, I took my pro-Oasis, anti-Blur stance to its logical extreme by not even listening to the music I dedicated my life to despising, and paradoxically, I allowed this know-nothingness to form the basis of my opinion of that unheard music. When Blur's catalog was reissued in 2012, and music critics lined up to declare the greatness of records such as The Great Escape and Park Life, I was intensely annoyed that albums I had never played in their entirety were being so grossly overrated. Not that I actually read those reviews, mind you, as this would have also violated my draconian anti-Albern ordinance, but I could only imagine what those writers were probably saying. Those albums must be terrible, I thought, because Oasis's 1994 debut, Definitely Maybe, is on my personal top 5 greatest albums of all time list, and my love for that record requires believing that anything related to Blur unequivocally sucks. My logic makes as much sense as the lyrics to Oasis's Shaker Maker. I've been driving in my car with my friend, Mr. Soft, Mr. Clean, and Mr. Ben, are living in my loft. But it speaks to me with equal clarity and persuasiveness. This is where I need to state explicitly that, intellectually speaking, I know I'm being unreasonable. I'll go even further and acknowledge my indefensible lunacy. Enough is enough, I decided. Even if, after sampling Everyday Robots, I still found that Albern wasn't my thing, surely informed indifference is better than benign neglect, right? In 1902, a sociologist named Charles Horton Cooley devised a concept called the looking-glass self, which posits that a person's sense of identity is shaped by interaction with social groups, and the ways in which the individual thinks he or she is perceived by others. Cooley believed this process involved 3 steps. You imagine how you appear to other people. You imagine the judgment of other people. You base your feelings about yourself on how you think you appear to other people. This might seem intuitive in the 21st century, but at the time it broke people's brains. Cooley's theory challenged the idea that the self is innate, arguing instead that we are who we think other people think we are. Cooley separated those other people into primary and secondary social groups. The primary group is composed of people with whom you are intimately involved, including your immediate family and close friends. This is the most important group in terms of influencing the person you are and will become. The secondary group is broader, and unlike the primary group, it's something you belong to on a voluntary and often transient basis. Secondary groups might include people at your school or your place of work. Cooley's book predates the emergence of modern pop music as a cultural phenomenon. Unless Mr. Cooley comes back from the grave to inform me otherwise, I'm going to suggest that Oasis fans and Blur fans, and punks and metalheads and deadheads and parrotheads and juggalos are examples of secondary groups. Rivalries certainly occur among primary groups, such as the 19th century blood feud between the Hatfields and McCoys, and the seemingly endless battle for the White House between the Bush and Clinton dynasties. Rivalries are also common within families, but that's a topic for another book, or perhaps for therapy. But more often,